Sick of me. Sick of it. Okay. Yeah, one thing I wasn't was a spelling bee champ. Ooh, okay. So, um, so today's topic is how to deal with anxiety and panic attacks. And for me, originally, I couldn't. How can I put this? At first, I thought it wasn't real. Like when I be seeing people overreacting shit, I be like, calm down. Like you ain't gotta do all that. Just calm down. But as time is going on, and for me, my anxiety and the reason why let me explain to you what anxiety is, because for a lot of people they don't understand. So basically, it's your mind kind of getting out of control, and it overtakes your whole body, and you like, hold on, wait a minute. Your mind is just taking over your whole body, and you feel anxious, you feel like your heart is racing. You either get amputations, or some people their hands sweat, and you're just nervous. It's like you have a fear of the unknown, and that's really what it is. It's a fear of the unknown. So you don't know or can't, because you feel like you can't control your environment or you can't control your situation, you get anxious. Mine stemmed from my dad passing away. So mine was, I constantly thought there was something wrong with my heart. And then I got this little blood pressure machine to, constantly measure my blood pressure. And then whenever I would have my anxiety attacks, my blood pressure would be extremely elevated. And then I would go back and forth to the hospital over and over again, especially during the pandemic. I would go back and forth to the hospital. Um, it was hell. It was basically hell on earth, because it would be like one day I would be good, and then the next day it would be hell the whole day. So then I was like, damn, I want to be depressed, because when I was depressed, I didn't have any type of anxiety. I wasn't kind of anxious. I wasn't even able to put a word on the feeling. It was just like I was I just felt out of sorts, and I felt I couldn't handle my environment, or I wasn't in control of my environment. But I didn't know that from the jump. And really, honestly, and truly, I felt like it would happen out of nowhere. Um, and then it would happen when I thought about it, and then when I didn't think about it, I was good. And then I started taking medication. I think it was called propanolol, if I'm not mistaken. But it's supposed to be for to help you. So my blood pressure had got elevated, and that was only happening because in my head everything felt wrong. Like it just feels like you're about to die in that moment. I can't really explain it, and I never want to go through it again, because it's like the whole world stops, and you're like, you feel like it's your body. But like once I've gotten to the point that I'm at now, I realize it's all in your head. People will tell you it's all in your head. People will be like, "Oh, you're good. It's just in your head, and you're just thinking about it, but you just can't stop." Or they just be like, "Just stop thinking about it." Baby, if it was that easy, I would have done it. You know what I'm saying? So you feel anxious. You feel like your heart is pounding 100, miles, and your head is racing. You feel like you about to faint. You feel like you about to die. Like you just feel like the world is about to freaking end right now. I think that's the best way I can. I don't know if there's a difference or a correlation. I think there's a correlation between the two. I definitely think that they're the same thing. Anxiety and panic attacks are the same thing in my mind. Especially all the research I did to try to get rid of it, because I wasn't going to allow this to be me. being anxious and being worried about the unknown was not going to rule my life or have dominion over my life right now. So I made it to a point where I did a whole bunch of research about what anxiety was. Well, first I thought there was something wrong with my heart. So that was I had to figure that out. I had to figure out that, I keep going to the doctor's office. I keep going to hospitals, running up bills for them just to send me home or try to give me medication for my symptoms. And it wasn't curing me. It was putting a band-aid over a giant wound. Like, this thing had, like, anxiety made me quit my job because I thought it was because work related. Well, one, I had been wanting to quit my job, but I had quit my job and it really overtook my life. It did. It made me depressed. It made me stop wanting to just live. Like, I was just like, I'm ready to go because I do not want to live. I didn't know what it was, but I didn't want to live like the way I was living. And then I figured out it was a fear of. What was I having fear of? My fear was I was going to die the way my dad did. So first I had to get through that fear. I had to speak that fear that one, and I blame myself. Like, so I had to, one, forgive myself that the reason why that happened or the outcome of that happening wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. Everybody is in charge of their life. Yes, there were things that I could have done better. Yes. Hindsight being 2020. Yes, there could have been things that I could have done better. Or I should have done better. But a lot of it is like when your parent, like when that's your parent, it's hard to tell your parent no. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your parent, especially in the Black community. You're, what I say goes. So it's like you see something is hurting somebody, but that's your parent, and you've had it installed into you that, you don't tell your parent no. So you keep allowing things to happen. And I had to forgive myself on it. I had to forgive myself, and I had to say it wasn't my fault. And when I did that first step of acknowledging my problem and telling myself, hey, this isn't your fault, the reason why this happened. These are, years and years of life choices. But one thing that I did for myself was I decided to change the way I was eating. Because I was like, well, shit, maybe because, I wasn't eating right. And then, somebody told me, like, you are what you eat. So, eating can be, if you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, then that can be kind of determined on how you feel and how you think. So I went vegan. I cut it all off. Like, at one point in time, I was 302 pounds. So that was my first, like, wake up call. I had got big, but I was like, I ain't never gonna be 300. But when I got 302, I was like, damn. I'm huge. Like, I've never been this big. I'm too damn short to be this damn big, and I don't want to get no bigger. So, ooh, that's too strong. That's alcoholic. But it had got to a point where I got too big. So I was just like, let me research on what I need to do. So I started fasting. I started doing like water cleanses and different stuff like that. And then I didn't see the results right off the bat. And I think that was my problem. And, a lot of people's problem is that instant gratification. But one thing I can say was my anxiety stopped, and I wasn't depressed when I started to eat healthier. So that was one of my drives. And, I prayed to God, and I was just like, God, I want to lose weight and by any means necessary. I shouldn't have said that. That's kind of where I messed up. Was I said by any means necessary. So he said here anxiety. Um, but it was so I did that. I changed the way I was eating, and boom, I started to lose weight real quick. Boom, dropping it. I was dropping weight. Um, I didn't notice it, but other people were like, dang, oh, you losing weight? Boom. My anxiety wasn't really bad. But then when I kind of went off of what my thing was, boom, the anxiety kicked back in. Really bad. So then I was like, all right, even though I'm eating right and I'm doing like I'm doing my body right, but my mind and soul was not where it needed to be. Body was good, so whenever I did the body stuff, I'm losing weight, and my mind and my soul wasn't good. So I had to heal my mind and soul. So because your mind, body, and soul all have to be in the same place for an order your stuff to be in order, your mind, body, and soul have to be in place. So then I thought it was because I wasn't drinking enough water. Because I started getting heart palpitations. And I was just like, well, maybe it's this. But once I figured out, like, my anxiety is my mind and me not being able to control my fear and the fear of. So I was just like, all anxiety and panic attacks are the fear of. And my thing was this. I'm a control freak. I like to control my environment. I like to control my situation. All the time, if I can. And that led to me not surrendering. There wasn't no place for God if I always had to be in control of stuff. So I had to learn to surrender. There's stuff that I cannot control. There are things that I'm not going to be able to control myself. So I had to surrender that. I'm like, God, I can only control being in this moment in time. So the time right now is 7:25. I can only control 7:25. I can only control that. I have to allow God to be God and control 7:26, 7:27, 7:28. But when I get in that moment, when I'm in that moment of 7:26, when I'm in that moment of 7:27, that's when I have to control it. Now I'm in the moment of 7:26. I have to allow God to control 7:27. And then when he allows me to be in that moment, or I'm in the moment of 7:27, then I'm going to be okay. So one thing I said to myself that I learned from someone, in this moment, I'm okay. And I am okay in this moment. So when I had anxiety or when I was either running late or like when I'm trying to do too many things at one time. And that's one thing, like when people that get control, that are control freaks, is like you try to do too much or you try to put too much on yourself. You have to pause. Wait. Evaluate your situation and tell yourself, I'm okay in this moment. And in this moment, I'm okay. Stop, pause, evaluate. S, stop, pause, P, I, evaluate. I'm okay in this moment, and in this moment, I am okay. And then, statistically saying, a lot of people was dealing with anxiety in the pandemic because, like, you had to deal with yourself. You had to be with yourself. You had to be in your own space. And a lot of people were not comfortable or they weren't good with themselves. A lot of people have to go out and be in a relationship. If you ever see people that have to constantly be in a relationship and they ain't never single, 9 times out of 10, they do not like being with themselves. These people are your most beautiful people. These people are, they can be ugly, they can be pretty, they can be beautiful, but 9 times out of 10, they're uncomfortable with being with themselves, so they have to be with or surrounded by other people. That's a word. So, a lot of people are uncomfortable with themselves. I hated being by myself I was uncomfortable with myself because I did not like being in my own thoughts. When I'm by myself, I think too much. I overthink things. I get anxious. I get riled up. I wire myself up. And I'm just like, this is too much. So I have to be okay in the moment. In this moment. I have to forgive myself for my fear. I have to acknowledge my fear first. Forgive myself for being afraid. And then stop and pause and be okay in the moment that I'm in. Those are the 4 steps to curing. Not fully curing, but being able to, once you fully, I feel like the last time I've had an anxiety attack was maybe a week ago. About a week ago. Maybe about a week or 2 ago. And it was like I checked my blood pressure. It was elevated a little bit. It happened when I woke up and had it in the middle of my sleep. But I had to stop, evaluate, and be like, I'm okay in this moment, and I'm good right now. Right now, I'm okay. I have to worry about right now. I have to focus on right now. And I can't worry about things I can't control. Things that are out of my control, I cannot control them. So that's where I had to learn that things that are out of my control, I gotta let it go. I can't control that. What I can control is this. What I can't control is 7:30. Because I'm in 7:30. I can't control 7:31. So, the key to overcoming your anxiety or helping to cope with it, helping to heal yourself, is being okay in the moment. Don't, a lot of people want to live for the moment, but being okay in the moment. Like, your anxiety is the fear of, you're fearing what is to come. You're fearing, what if this happens again? Or what if, this happens to me? Or what if this happens to my child? What if this happens to, my mom, my sister? You fear for other people. You have to cast fear out of your being and out of your aura. You cannot allow fear to be in dominion of, or have the well about to be in your presence. Fear has no presence here. Fear will not have any presence here. Fear cannot have any presence here. And I will not allow fear to be here. One thing I did was I said I will replace fear with courage. I replace my fear with courage. I asked God, I said, can you replace my fear with courage? So whenever I have to face my fear will not look down at me. I will look fear into its eyes and tell fear, you have no dominion here. What I fear will not overwhelm me or be a part of my life anymore. And that's the toughest part about overcoming, is telling your fear it won't happen. It may have happened, it might have happened, but it won't happen to you again. Or it won't happen to you at all. Some people fear stuff that ain't never happened to them. Sometimes we're living fear from other people. Sometimes we allow other people's fear to be ours. Sometimes we want to move out of state, but everybody in your closest family, oh, that's not the right thing to do. So you allow their fear because they don't want to take a chance on life, and they're comfortable at where they're at. Nothing wrong with that, but that's for them. But you allow your auntie, your uncle, your mama and them, your brother and sister's fear to become your own, so then you never excel because you have then allowed other people's fear to become your own. So now that you have allowed their fears to become yours, now you're afraid. Now you're anxious because you have taken on the energy of fear instead of taking the energy of courage and to step out of being uncomfortable. People didn't get to where they are. Successful people did not get where they are. There's no successful person that created their own success by being fearful. There's nothing wrong with making smart moves and being careful, but nobody that is the best YouTuber or that created Bill Gates creating Microsoft, the dude who did Mark Wahlberg doing fucking Facebook, he didn't get there by being fearful. He didn't get there by taking on other people's, oh, I don't think this is the right thing to do because, 5 or 6 years ago, somebody telling you they're a YouTuber, everybody's kind of looking at them like, for real? Like, is that really a job? But now, everybody trying to do it. Same thing with being a stripper. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, being a stripper was not the thing. Like, everybody was not, like, trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, ooh, no. It was something looked down upon. But now, look at everybody. Now, everybody trying to throw ass. So, long story short, to help yourself overcome your fear, first, you have to acknowledge what your fear is. Some people are anxious and don't have a reason or don't know the reason why they're anxious. So you have to first acknowledge what your fear is. That's the hard part. I had to acknowledge why I feel this way. Why I feel this way. Why am I like this? Why am I fearful? Why am I doing this? Why do I feel this way? Why? So I had to acknowledge why I'm fearful. Acknowledged? Yes, I did. I acknowledged why I felt this way, why I'm fearful, why am I anxious. I acknowledged that. Next, I had to now I have to turn my fear into courage. So now I have to ask God or ask whoever or whomever, Can you help me turn my fear into courage? Now that you've turned your fear into courage, you have to look your fear in the face and tell fear, you don't have any dominion here. I control my mind does not control me. Am I okay in this moment? And in this moment, I'm okay. Seek a therapist. A lot of black people, we don't want to seek a therapist because it's this old, like, ooh, what's wrong with you? You crazy or something? Yes. My mind has control over my whole body. Literally, my back thoughts have control over how I feel and how I move, and I don't want to go anywhere. It has me depressed. It has me doing this. It has me overwhelmed, or I've allowed my fear to overcome my mind to where I don't think, my fear thinks. I'm not me. I'm not Mark. I'm fear. I'm constantly afraid. I'm constantly overthinking things. I'm constantly like, should I or should I not? Or I'm constantly in fear. I'm in fear of. I have the fear of. I'm constantly like, should I or should I not? I'm not me. I'm fear. So once I have challenged fear, I've looked fear in the face. I've told fear that you don't have any dominion here. I've changed my fear into courage. That is the first key steps over getting over your anxiety. Acknowledge what your fear is. Whether it be your fear being, am I going to get a new job? I'm going to die. Am I going to finish in time? Am I going to meet this deadline? You have to be okay in the moment. Once you're okay in the moment, you can challenge your fear. The best way to overcome fear is courage. So you got to let the haters, a lot of people are doubters. You got to realize who you're surrounded by too. Are you surrounded by a bunch of people that are in the fear of? You take on the energy that other people are giving out. If I'm surrounded by a bunch of broke motherfuckers that have a broke motherfucker mentality, then I will take on the same mentality. You are who you keep. You are who you surround, for the most part. If you're around a bunch of people that do coke, don't be surprised if you try it at least once. They may not offer it to you all the time, but, if you're, I don't want to say weak-willed, but for a lot of people, if you're a weak-willed person, you're going to take on other people's shit. You're going to take on what they want to do. You're going to be like, well, maybe I need to try it too. Maybe that's for me. But no. The opposite of fear is courage. Challenge your fear. Acknowledge your fear. Be okay in the moment. And tell your mind you have control over your mind. Pray, ask for courage instead of fear. Control your mind and tell your mind that you don't have fear and anxiety and panic has no dominion over you. I challenge that. I tell fear, I welcome in courage. Then watch your anxiety start to go away. Watch your fear of, once you have chased your fear of, whether it be, I have a fear of losing my job. I have a fear of this. I have a fear of that. When you welcome in, that's why it says in the Bible, I don't know where, don't quote me, but there's power in the tongue. When you say things, things happen. You have to watch what you say. Like when people be laughing and be like, I'm dead. I'll be like, no. No. So you have to watch what you say. You have to watch who you keep around you. You got to watch what you're feeding yourself. Are you feeding yourself a bunch of fear? Are you feeding yourself a bunch of courage? Are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding yourself? Physically, yes. Are you feeding yourself a bunch of vegetables and fruits, which is life? Fruits and stuff, they never die. You know what I'm saying? You cut an onion, the onion still grow. Are you feeding yourself life? Or are you feeding yourself death? When you eat a cow, that shit dead. That stuff is imprinted in that cow that you're eating. So now you're taking in that cow that didn't have a nice life. Now you taking that on. And you be wondering how to nowhere. You just be scared. You are what you eat. You take in that stuff. You take in that energy. That energy is never left from that slab of meat that's there. You're taking that in. Ask for courage instead of fear. Acknowledge your fear. Be okay in the moment. Challenge yourself. Challenge your fear. You got to challenge it. You got to look it in the eye. You got to tell your fear that, not today. Not today you won't. Once you have gained that courage and you challenge it, watch your fear start going away. It may come back every now and again. Mine pop up every now and again. But one thing I can say is this, that it doesn't stay for long. Like I remember I'd have an anxiety attack 30, 45 minutes. Just scared. For no reason, just scared. But now that I prayed and asked for courage, and I've looked my fear in the face of what it was, and I told my fear, hey, not today you won't. Once I've challenged my fear and I told my fear what it was, it don't last but a couple of minutes. So again, be okay in the moment. And am I okay at 7:45? I'm okay at 7:45. I'm good. All right, y'all. That's the end of today's show. But we're going to end the show off we're going to read some lyrics. We're going to do our lyric breakdown. So we're going to do Ignition by R. Kelly. Because I was singing that on yesterday's show. And I don't even be knowing what he's saying. Bounce, 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 bounce. Ignition. Yeah, the remix lyrics. There we go. Wait. Now I'm not trying to be rude, but hey, pretty girl, I'm feeling you. The way you do your thing, you know that you do. You remind me of Lexus. You remind me of Lexus Cool. That's why I'm trying to be up in your grill. That's why I'm trying to be up in your grill, trying to get you to the hotel. You must be a football coach the way you be playing the field. Oh, hold on now. So baby, give me that toot. Let me get that beep. You be running her hands through your fro. Bounce on 24s while they saying on the radio. It's the remix of Ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body. Got it every man here wishing. Sipping on some Coke and rum. I'm like, what? I'm drunk. It's a freaking weekend. It's the freaking weekend, baby. I'm about it. Have some fun. Bounce, 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 bounce. Now it's like murder, she wrote. All right, y'all. I'm going to bounce up out of here. I'll see y'all Saturday. What is Saturday? I'm going to have a guest on Saturday. I think we're talking about financial planning, if I'm not mistaken. I forget. I got to look at my schedule. But I'll see y'all next week. Next Saturday. Peace. I'll see y'all Saturday and Sunday. Please follow me on Spotify. And also, if you want to email Controversially Black, if you have any questions, because I do want to do like a call-in thing where people are, not a call-in thing, but a write-in thing. So, like, y'all give me the juice, and I'm trying to give y'all, like, some, like, what I think, I guess. Or, you know, I got good advice, y'all. Y'all better use it. So, if you got a relationship problem, a life problem, something, I'm going to give you the best advice that I have on the show, and we will keep you anonymous. So, if you want to write in, DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and you can get your question answered on how you deal with a problem, or how you deal with a situation, or if your husband cheating on you, your wife cheating on you, you cheating on your wife, or you cheating on your husband, or you have a relationship problem or something like that. You can write into the show at not www dot, ain't no website. Controversially Black, BLAQ. Controversially is spelled controversially. You gotta look that up. I'm not a spelling bee champ. I can't spell that. But what I can spell is the name. Controversially Black, BLAQUECK at gmail.com if you want to do it on there, or you can DM me on Instagram at Mark2Lnice, MARK2L or Mark2Lnice98, which is MARQ 2Lnice98. And if you want to be a future sponsor for a show, you can email me at no, I'm lying. Controversially Black, the BLAQUECK at gmail.com. And you can email me about being a sponsor for future shows. And I will talk to you guys later. So if you have any products or anything like that and you want to sponsor the show, we can talk about it. All right, you guys. I will talk to you guys next Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you later. Peace.
Do you want to go to comments?
Do you want to